Greetings, everyone. Giving thanks. Ross reports. Speaking of the Rothschilds and all the old money family banking cartels, there was a recent article last month put out by Tehran Times. Starts off with a quote from the Ayatollah. For America's politicians, whether male or female, the security of Ismail is not the main issue. The main issue is something else. The main issue for these lords is satisfying the Zionist capitalist network which has taken their lives in its hands. Our government is being used to benefit the interests of a small minority of individuals that hide behind religion. Who or what is behind the system of Western corporate capitalism, which has already enslaved much of the world in its ever-expanding scheme of austerity, impoverishment, and servitude? You see in places like Russia and Venezuela, where the media is jumping on the fact that the currencies have taken a dive and that the people are said to be suffering. But do the people have housing? Do the people have food to eat? Perhaps, perhaps not. But any more, any less than people do here? That's the major question. Zionism is a destructive modification of Judaism and based on the Talmud, which has been written by Jews, not God. As I recall, the Christ came and said, the law was alive and in every man's heart, and it was the original law of the Hebrew people, not this law, this Talmud that they had begun to write at that time. Vice President Joe Biden openly stated in a program broadcast on television, I am a Zionist. You don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist. Key Zionists like David Gurion, while not religious themselves, used the Bible to manipulate the masses to carry out their own political agenda. The article also points out a lot of the players around the current executive administration, including Lawrence Summers, Dennis Ross, Hillary Clinton, Robert Gates, Rahm Emanuel, David Axelrod, Dan Shapiro, Ben Bernanke, Jack Lew, Eric Lynn, David Ruberstein, Jen Sperling, Adam Zubin, and Janice Mellon. The point of convergence between Zionism and the moneyed elite appears to be the interest of the Rothschilds. The origin of the Rothschilds' financial empire dates back to 1750, when Amschel Rothschild was a court agent for rich Prince William IX of Hesse-Kassel. Upon receiving news that Napoleon was losing to Waterloo, the Rothschilds sold their stock on the English stock market, which then plummeted, after which they bought it back at bargain prices before news of Wellington's victory arrived. This allowed the Rothschilds to gain control of the Bank of England, and they have been financing both sides of wars ever since. This forms the locus of all powerful Rothschild-related individuals. The round table groups were semi-secret discussion and lobbying groups, wrote Georgetown University professor Carol Quigley in 1977. The aim of this cabal of international bankers, which included representatives from the Lazard, Morgan, Rockefeller, and Whitney families, was nothing less than to create a world system of financial control in private hands able to dominate the political system of each country and the economy of the world as a whole. From this group also established the forerunner to later U.S. intelligence services, Walter Lippmann, who worked with Woodrow Wilson and Lyndon B. Johnson. Also included were Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, and Paul Warburg, prime force behind the Federal Reserve. The largest shareholders of Federal Reserve stock are the Rothschilds of London, but it's difficult to verify, since all shares of the 12 regional Federal Reserve banks are held by privately owned member banks. 2 points are clear, however. First, the U.S. government owns none of the shares of the Federal Reserve, and second, the Fed acts on behalf of investment bankers and not the American public. Certainly, during the financial crisis of 2008, the Federal Reserve acted on behalf of Wall Street financial interests. They are the Rothschilds of Europe, Lazard Freres, also known as Eugene Meyer, Kuhn Loeb Company, Warburg Company, Lehman Brothers, Goldman Sachs, Rockefeller family, and J.P. Morgan. All of them maintain close relationships with the House of Rothschilds, principally through the Rothschild control of international money markets through manipulation of the price of gold. There you have it.